Hello, everybody. Hello. Happy Friday. Today is May the 29th. May the 29th. Come on in and get situated. Today we're going to be filling in all the remaining empty spaces on this quilt layout. I'm going to show you my ideas, what I've done to fill in the rest of the empty spaces for this quilt layout, and just trying to get this video pulled up. Dun, 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 dun. Tuesday, I tried to stream live, and yeah, it was not good. Our internet kept cutting off, freezing up. So that was a mess. So we called Cox Cable, and they determined that it was not our inside equipment. It was an outside issue. They came out the next day, ran a new line from our house to the box at the street, which has helped, but they figured out that the main issue for our slow internet is actually the main line running through the neighborhood. And they're still working on that, but it looks like we're streaming really good today. Yes. So I wanted to come live Tuesday, but that did not work out. So here we are Friday. And we're going to talk about filling in the last of the empty spaces of this quilt layout. Some ideas if you're wondering how to put it all together. You might choose to do this. You might choose to do something totally different. And many of you I've seen over on Creative Crew Group have already sewn this quilt top together. And I love that. I've enjoyed seeing your pictures, watching the progress. Many of you, I do know that one person's already quilting their quilt. Yes. Hello, everybody. Hello. So great to see you. I want to thank my moderators as we begin for today. Thank you so much for keeping an eye on our chat. I appreciate you so much. Hello. So great to see you. So, yes, let me move this screen so I can see what I'm doing. All right, what you'll notice down below. So here's what we're doing today. I'm giving you numbers for sashing down below my face right here. We're going to talk about this here in just a second. I have a confession to make about this quilt, so stay tuned for that. And then when we're all done talking about what I've done to this point, I want to show you a couple of ideas for some upcoming videos because I feel like today's video is wrapping this up, right? We're wrapping this whole series up today. Right, Vicki? I've seen all the quilts are so amazing. Yes. Oh, I agree. So at the end of today's video, I'm going to show you some really fun things. I have some big projects lined up, but those take a lot of planning. Those are in the works, but I have some small video ideas for the next week or so. So we're going to still spend time together. We're still going to do live videos, but we're going to transition into something new. Yes, after today. So let's go ahead and get started talking about what I've done to fill in the empty spaces. So let me show you on this grid the space that we're talking about today. Okay, so in the first video, we did the white sections around the 10-inch blocks. You'll see that little border around the 10-inch blocks. We did that together. Then we came back in the next video and we made hourglass and snowball units. And those are the orange and the blue units that you see going horizontally through sections of the quilt. We did that video. Then Tuesday we were supposed to be live to talk about the purple and the brown sections. And that's what we're talking about today. The brown, there's 4 vertical sashings and 2 horizontal sashings, purple and brown. So what that does is really separate the 3 long sections running through the quilt if you want to do that. I've seen some quilts on Creative Crew Group that did not put a sashing in between those sections and it looks amazing. So this is just a suggestion, just an idea. Okay, so down below, what I did, and you can kind of see it behind me. I'm going to show you some really good pictures here in a second. This sashing is made up of 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares sewn together. Okay, so if you want to do this, you're going to need 136 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares. You're going to sew those all together. You need 4 vertical rows that run down the length of your quilt. Each one of those rows has 23 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares. That's what makes up your vertical rows. Then you will take 22 of those squares and make 2 horizontal top and bottom sashings or borders. Okay? You will attach when you start to piece all of these sections together. You will attach your vertical rows first, and then the last 2 seams of your quilt will be the horizontal top and bottom pieces. Those will be added, your last 2 seams, to put this together. And also, if you don't want to do the 4.5 by 4.5 inch squares like what I've done, if you want to use a solid piece of fabric, I've included solid sashing at the bottom of the screen, how big you need to cut it, and how many of those pieces you need. So there's all of the information. Grab a pen and a piece of paper and write this down if you haven't started assembling this quilt together and you're looking for a couple of ideas. These are just suggestions, and this is what I've done. So I'm going to leave those numbers on the screen for a good minute so that you can do that or take a screenshot. And so you'll have that for later. Oh, it's so great to see you, everybody. I have not talked about the confession yet. I have not talked about that yet. We're going to get there in just a minute. Everything purple and brown on the screen, those are the pieces you see down below me. Yes. So great to see y'all. I've missed y'all so much. I was so disappointed when I could not go live on Tuesday. It put me in a little bit of a bad mood. I was a little sour about it with the Cox Cable people. We pay too much money for our internet to not have good internet service. We work way too hard to pay our bills, right? We should have what we're paying for. I was so sour about it, but they did jump on it. They did come right out and they ran a new line, and it looks like we're up and running for the most part. So, you know, I feel better about it. But yes, you should have what you're paying for. They're working on it though. So thank you, Cox Cable, for being so quick in helping with our issue. All right, so everything purple and brown, that's on the screen. Let me show you. Okay, so I did all the math. How many pieces do you have to cut? How many do you need for each sashing piece? And I did all the math, and then I cut out all my pieces, and I sewed together my sashing pieces. Okay, so as I did that, I put them up on the screen. Dun, 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 dun. Here's my quilt with 2 sashing pieces. I wanted to kind of take a picture at this point because maybe some of you only want to do 2 sashing pieces running down the middle. And you're wondering, what would that look like? So this was my quilt layout with just 2 of the vertical sashing pieces running right down on both sides of that middle section. She's kind of busy, right? She's a busy, busy quilt. I love her. She is busy. I really wish I had coordinated my fabrics much better so that it wasn't as busy. She's busy. So at this point, I had made 2 of the vertical sashings. So there's a possibility if you want to do that. It's so great to see y'all. So great to see you. Then I kept on sewing and kept on sewing, attaching 4.5 by 4.5 inch pieces and making more sashing. And so I'm going to show you, because you can't see it because my head's in the way, my whole design wall behind me. That is everything up on the wall. The sashing pieces are sewn together and all the blocks are just up on the wall, clung to the design wall. And that is what she would look like if you put this together as a quilt. That's a lot of work, right? Oh my goodness, I cannot believe we did a live video for each one of these blocks. Sandra, you could most definitely use solid sashing. That is a wonderful option if you wanted to do that. One reason why I didn't is because I did not want to pull any more fabric from my stash. I've been working from the same fabric. All the fabric that I've used in this quilt, I've put into a separate plastic bin. I did not want to cut any more yardage from my stash because it's my yardage to do enough for solid sashing. I don't know that I would even have enough of a solid color to do it. And if I did, it's probably a color that I wouldn't want to use. So I had committed that everything that was getting put into this quilt was going to come out of this bin. To do that, I had to make 4.5 by 4.5 scrappy sashing. So that's why I didn't. But I have seen pictures on Creative Crew of this quilt put together with solid sashing, and it's wonderful. So if you're really if you're trying to decide what to do and you're undecided, there's a link in the description box if you haven't joined Creative Crew on Facebook yet. Go on over there and just scroll through the posts, because you'll not only see people's blocks as they've made them, but people are starting to assemble their quilts, and you get some ideas of what it might look like in a different way. So that's really great. Yes, it is a sampler quilt, and I love that about it. I love that about it. I wish I had coordinated a little less different fabrics in it, but I do love the samplery part about it, right? Vicki, we're going to come live and do all kinds of stuff. I've gotten so much practice in the last 3 months doing live videos that I'm way more comfortable now. But we're going to switch and do other stuff. And I'm going to give you a glimpse of that here in just a little bit. Yes, yes. Okay, so that's what she looks like, because you can't see the whole thing behind me. So I've been sitting here staring because we couldn't go live Tuesday. I've had these sashing pieces up on my wall since last Friday. So that's been a week of me in my studio staring at this wall. Staring at the wall. And then, let's see, what day was it? Monday? The day before we were supposed to go live? Thank you so much. Thank you, Vicki. Yeah, I'm going to get you to do the Facebook. I'm going to get you to do it. I think you would enjoy it. Even if you make a profile and you don't set it up for, using Facebook personally, but you join Creative Crew, I think you would really enjoy it over there. After we join the columns together, then do vertical sashing in the middle. Yes, you will, Miss Donna, you will attach, once you get the big sections, the 3 big main sections of your quilt together, and those go together very easy, right? Once you get those 3 columns done, you will attach each one of your 4 vertical sashings, and then you will attach your last 2 sashings, the top and the bottom. Those will be your last 2 seams to put this together. Oh, what was I saying? Okay, so I've been staring at this. Monday, I said, well, let me go ahead and start putting my 3 main sections together. Let me start sewing on that for a little bit. So I took my spool block, I took the card tricks block, the maple leaf, and I forget the name of the other block that's white and purple to the right of the maple leaf. I forget the name of that. And then I took the hourglass sashing underneath of those 4 blocks and I started sewing them together. Here comes my confession, y'all. I fell in love with that little section all by itself. I fell in love with it all by itself. Let me show you what it looks like. It's adorable. It's adorable. And so I've had that pieced together right up here. I put it back on the wall. It's this little section right here, right there. That is all that's sewn together except for my sashings. This little section is sewn together. Everything else is still unattached. I've been debating, and I'm about 90% sure that I want to make several wall quilts out of this, out of all my blocks. And the reason, okay, I love the way this looks. And so let's talk about my reasons why I would do that. I love it together as a quilt. It's a big quilt. How often would I use this quilt? Would it sit in a cabinet and never be used? Probably. It would probably stay folded up and I would probably never use it. If I broke the blocks down, I could probably make 11 or 12 good size wall hangings from this. And then put little labels on the back, like 4 of 53 quarantine blocks, 2020. And then give them to my kids, give one to my mom, give one to Harlan's mom. I would keep one, but I would be able to split it up and give several people a part of what we did. Versus having a quilt that I would never probably use. I don't know. I would love to have it together as a quilt, but would I use it? And y'all, I like to use my quilts. That's why I make them. I want to use them. I would probably fold this up and that would be it. That would be it. But if I broke it down, made 11 or 12 wall hangings, I could give it to so many people. Hazel said, I'd use it. It's fabulous. Don't break it up. Certainly, if you've done all the blocks and you want to make it as a quilt, I've seen it all together and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And that's why I've been so torn about it the last 5 or 6 days. But once I sewed this section together, I really fell in love with the way it looked. And then I got to thinking I could give my kids one. I could give, my parents one, Harlan's parents. I could do so much more with it. That's just me. That's just me. Vicky, it would have to be a large wall. This quilt is going to be 88 inches wide and 100 inches long. It would have to be a large wall. And right now we don't have a guest room. So there's no room, there's no wall that this quilt would hang in our house. It would be folded up. There is no wall big enough to display this quilt. However, I have lots of wall space where I could hang that up. I could hang a couple of them up, right? I could hang several of them up in different areas of my home. I could give them to several different people and spread the love. It's kind of what I'm leaning towards. That's my confession. So I don't know. I'm going to leave it on my wall. I'm not actually doing anything with it in the next week. It's just going to stay on my wall just like it is while I decide. Because I have some other things that I'm working on. And if I can't make up my mind 100%, then I'm just going to leave it there until I decide what to do. But that's my thought process on it. Yes, yes. I say if you want to make it all together as a quilt, I've certainly given plenty of different ideas and ways to do that, right? I've even seen people put their blocks together in a totally different way than how I've laid it out, and it was gorgeous. So, Angel, I just wouldn't use the quilt. It's going to be way too big. It does not go in with anything in my bedroom at all. And so putting it on my bed would not happen. It's kind of too big to snuggle on the sofa with. It's humongous. And I have a quilt that I've made that I snuggle with on the sofa. It would get folded up and it would be in a stack that I probably wouldn't do anything with. No, Vicki, not in my quilt room. The biggest wall is the one that you see that it's on. And that's got to come down because I have commissions coming up. Every other wall, I'm in a room over the garage, and so I don't have great big walls. They're sort of like an A-frame with shorter side walls. So nope, it's not going to fit there either. The biggest wall here in my sewing room is exactly right where it is. And that's got to come down. It's got to come down at some point because I've got some commissions coming up. So that's my thought process on it. I'm 90% sure it's going to stay up there for another week as I decide. So there we are with that. I just like keeping it real with y'all. I like being transparent. I like being honest with my friends and my family. And that's my heart on it. As soon as I sewed this section together, I was torn. And I want to share that with you because I want to just keep it real with you. And if I didn't tell you about it, and a year from now you ask to see this quilt and I say, I didn't sew it together as a quilt. Here's what I did. Then I feel like that would be a little shady. So I just want to let you know where I am on that. Keeping it real with you. I will decide in the next week what I actually do, but that's where I'm leaning. That's where I'm leaning. Yes, we are all different. We are all different. If, yeah, I'm 90% sure that that's what I'm going to do. Vicki, I cannot take over the garage. That's Harlan's man space. Harlan has to have some space here in our house. So the garage is his. Do you think smaller sashing in the middle of the quilt, like a 2.5 inch, would be okay, and the 4.5 inch for the border? Donna, yes. Yes. You could certainly do that. Absolutely. I saw a picture on Creative Crew Group and she used a smaller, she didn't use 4.5 inches. It looked like a 2.5 inch sashing and it looked terrific. So there's my thought process. I wanted to share that with you. Yeah, I wanted to share that with you. I really feel like today's video wraps up this series because once you make the sashing or you decide not to do the sashing, really all you're doing at this point is sewing the top together, sewing it together, and then quilting it and binding it, and you're done, right? So let me take this off the screen. Do you have any questions? Because I want to make sure we don't leave anything unanswered. Do you have any questions about how the 3 columns come together? It's up here on the screen. These are the 3 main columns that are made out of our blocks. Do you have any questions on how you would sew those together? Because if you do, now would be a great time to let's go ahead and go over that. If you're extremely new and you're wondering what the process would be. Yeah, my niece Kayla. Yeah, I should get, if I make them into wall quilts, I should give her one. Right? I should give her one. So this is the layout, pardon me, before we added any of the extra fill-in pieces. You can pretty much see where your seams are, and it's pretty easy sewing. Now, we've had lots and lots of practice coming live. I still get nervous when we come live, right when I get ready to hit the live button. I still get really nervous, but it's gotten so much easier. So in this process, I've had a little bit of a conundrum. Because with this live setup, I've really liked the flow of the work. You can see my face and you can see the sewing machine at the same time, or you can see my face and see my work area, or you can see all 3 at the same time. So many of my videos up until this point, you either see what I'm working on or you see my face and not both at the same time while I'm trying to explain it to you. So I really like the live streaming because I can do that, right? When I make a video with my cell phone, I make one short little section and then I have to move the camera and set it up and do this and do that and do this. So I'm thinking, you know, since I've had so much practice, a lot of my videos will transition into doing lives more often and tutorials that way. Oh, you're going to use the flying geese. You're thinking about using flying geese instead of all the squares. I love that idea. I almost did that for the small horizontal sashings between the places. I almost used flying geese. I think that is such a great idea. I think it's a lot of work, but I think it's a great idea. Carol, when you get ready to sew all them together, you're on the Creative Crew Group. I would love to help you. So you can post pictures there. If you're not on the Facebook, you can send me pictures through Etsy. And yeah, my Etsy link is down in the description box. I would be more than glad when you get to that point to help you and give you direction on where to start and how to progress through that. I would love to help you. is the PDF for the PDF is in the description box of this video. And when you print it out, you'll get exactly what you see here on the screen. There's also the other PDFs for all of your colored pictures with the name of the blocks. If you want to make a notebook out of it, those PDFs are in the description box of this video too. So all of that stuff is down there. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. I know, Doris, I feel like we're old friends now. I've actually missed not going. I was so disappointed when Tuesday the internet did not work. Jadira, we came on, let's see, 30 minutes ago. So you'll have to catch the replay to catch up to where we are now. Okay, Debbie says she would be sad if there were no live tutorials. I do like the interaction, right? I think here's my conundrum is that so many people come to YouTube for fast, quick tutorials because they're in the middle of a project and they want to know what to do. They don't want a lot of talking, jibber jabbering, chatting. Those are the comments I get on my videos. Stop jibber jabbering, get to the point. A lot of people have no time for that. However, I feel like, you know, this is my channel and this is my content and this is a community that we've built up and a family, and I feel like I like the interaction. So if you don't like the jibber jabber, there are some really short tutorials out there that would be more helpful for you, right? And so I kind of like the setup of doing the 3 different cameras and the 3 different angles all at one time. And I like that if you have a question about what I'm doing, you can ask it and I can help you live. Of course, if you're watching on the replay, you can ask it in the comment section and I have to come back. But yeah, I like that. So, all right, so that PDF is down in the description box. So let me show you some ideas. Jibber jabber is good. Yes. Yes. Now, you know, there are times for jibber jabber and there are times when you want to get right to the point, right? But I love the interaction. I have some really big projects lined up, but they take so much planning. Some big projects we're going to do here on my channel. I'm so excited about one of them. I am so excited about it. But in the meantime, let's work on some smaller projects while I'm working on the bigger ones, right? So the next couple of videos that are coming up, let me show you what we're going to be doing. Let's see. Do you like paper piecing? Do you like quilt as you go? Mug rugs or placemats? Patriotic themed. Here's what we're going to be doing. First, I'm working on a pattern. I'm about 75% done with it. This weekend, I'm hoping to get it finalized. Little mug rugs, patriotic mug rugs, and placemats. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? So this is done with paper piecing. I paper pieced these 3 stripes here. The little stars are raw edge applique. But if you don't like paper piecing, you can do it with solid pieces as well. And this goes together so much faster and so much easier. And it was quilting as you go, right? And then I added a backing fabric and then sewed around the corners, all the edges, and made this into a really fast placemat. Is that right side up? There you go. Just like that. So this is the easy version. And then if you like paper piecing, this is the paper pieced portion. I like them both. But this pattern is going to come with the placemat pattern and the little mug rug. So the mug rug I did 2 different ways too, so that you could see examples of them. Paper piece, look how little those sections are. Those are tiny. Paper piecing makes it so much easier though. And then I did it with solid sections. Again, quilt as you go. So once you assemble this, it's quilted, right? You could put a binding on it if you wanted to, or you could sew around the edges and make it a really fast project, right? You could do that. You could use the back as the binding like I did here, or you could make a separate binding. So many different ways to finish it off, depending on what you like to do, right? But yes, this is going to be a video coming up in the next week. I'm really excited about this. I've had this in mind for about 2 months now. But I love the little mug rug. Isn't that cute? I messed up my binding. Don't pay attention to that, but isn't the mug rug cute? I really like that a lot. But then think about the possibilities with this, because you could embroider a message in the stripes, right? Land of the free, or whatever you wanted to put on this. You could put, maybe you have someone who's military in your family. You could put their information on this. All kinds of stuff. You could do it with a fabric marker. You could hand sew it on there. But yes. On the second version are the stars raw edge applique. Nope. Oh, yes. Both of these, the stars are raw edge applique. So let me show you. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. You can see my stitching a little bit. The camera's not really focused for close-ups, but you can kind of see the stitching a little bit. Just barely on this one. I know it's fuzzy, but you can see the stitching. Simple raw edge applique with the stars. It will come with an SVG. The stars on the mug rug are smaller than the stars for the placemat. So you'll get an SVG if you purchase the pattern for both. The little one and the big one. Mug rug, placemat. This will be a paid pattern. You get the placemat and the mug rug, but in the live video, I'm going to show you how to make it. So if you're really, really creative, you could probably make this without the pattern, right? You could probably do it without the pattern. But if having the pattern makes it so much easier for you, then yeah, you'll get the mug rug and the placemat and an SVG for the stars. So you could just send those right over to your Cricut, your Silhouette, or your Brother Scan and cut out your stars. An SVG is a cutting file. Like a Silhouette and the Cricut, your cutting machines like the Brother Scan and Cut. An SVG is a file format that tells the cutter where to go, right? It's little dots that the computer reads in the cutting machine, and it's like a map, and it tells the cutter exactly where to go to cut out the shape. That is what an SVG is. I do have an embroidery machine. I have a Bernina B700. I have a love-hate relationship with my embroidery machine. Depending on which day it is, I either love her or I do not like her at all. Are you going to use your scan and cut? Probably not during the live, Ella, but I do have so many videos that show you the process of transferring an SVG from Brother Canvas Workspace over to the scan and cut, and then cutting out the SVG, the little patterns. But I saw, Ella, that you've been working with your scan and cut. I saw that over on the Facebook, and you've come a long way. I'm so proud of you. Jadira, I'm thinking the pattern will be $7.50, and that's a little bit more than what I usually charge for my patterns, but it includes a placemat and a mug rug pattern. So there's really 2 patterns and an SVG if you want to use that. So you get the 2 patterns. Oh yeah, Jadera, you don't have to have a cutting machine. I cut these out by hand. I just cut these out by hand. You're going to have a template. It comes with the pattern that you trace with the, I used Heat and Bond Light. I just traced the little template on the paper pattern and I cut my stars out by hand. If you were going into production and making lots of these, let's say you want to sell them at a craft fair, or let's say you want to make 10 of these for your table for 4th of July and you're making a whole bunch of them, then the SVG comes in really handy because you're not sitting and cutting out a million stars. The machine will cut them out in like 3 minutes. So yeah, it's there if you need it, but if you don't have one, there will be a tracing template for the stars. And that's what I'm going to do for the video when we make this, because I'm going to make one of these with you live during the video. I will be probably pre-doing 2 of the strips, and then we're going to make 1 of the strips together in the live, and then we're going to put this together and make a placemat in the live video. And I will be tracing my stars out by hand and cutting them out by hand. I think that's all of the questions so far. Yeah, so we're going to be doing this in one of the live videos. And then I feel like that'll be my tutorial. And so the written instructions, it is so, I've spent the last 3 days trying to type out written instructions for how to do the paper piecing, and it's so confusing to just read it. I would love to say, here's the pattern. Here's all your pieces for the pattern. Here's how to put the pattern together. And there's a video that you can watch that walks you step by step, and you get to see how it's done like a class. So that's my thought on that. So what would happen if you just sew together the groups that you like and then let him out on the floor and see how they all look together? I'm thinking you're talking about the quilt blocks behind me. Absolutely, you could do that. If you don't like it, you know, once you sew your big chunks together, you can just break out the seam ripper and take apart a seam and move something around. Studio 831. I've thought about making digitized programs for embroidery machines. There's so many kinds of embroidery machines out there. I belong to a couple groups on Facebook, and I read posts from digitizers and the troubles that they go through as a digitizing artist, and people can't load the designs, and there's a skip stitch in there somewhere on their machine but not on someone else's, and they get all these emails about problems. Yeah. Plus, I don't have a hoop that is this big to do a placemat, and most people don't, right? Most people don't have a hoop that's big enough to do a placemat. A lot of people might not even have a hoop that's big enough to do the mug rug. Embroidery hoops, why are they so expensive? I don't know. Will you be doing the quilting on a live? Jadera, are you talking about for this? Or are you talking about for that? The quilt behind me, all the blocks we've done together. All honesty, when I do my quilting, I like to have music. It relaxes me. I enjoy the process so much better, and my quilting is so much prettier when I'm relaxed and listening to music. So, I don't know. Oh, for the placemat and mug rug. Yes, we'll make the whole thing together. Right? We're going to make the whole thing together. Ah, Anita, you don't know what paper piecing is, but you guess you'll find out. Okay, so do a YouTube search in the meantime. But I have some paper piecing videos here on my channel. The Vintage Heart Mug Rug, that's a little paper pieced heart. We did some little bird mug rugs, and there's paper pieced portions of that. The quilt Hope, Dream, and Love has some paper pieced blocks in that quilt, so you'll have to check it out. But I'll be showing you when we make these as well. I will walk you step by step. And I want to take the fear out of paper piecing. When people think about paper piecing, there are some paper piecing patterns out there that are so intricate with so many pieces, and the work is gorgeous, right? This is more simple. This is more simple, and this is great for people who have never done it before. An introduction to paper piecing. Even if you've done paper piecing before, I think you would really enjoy this. Let's see. For the quilt, will you take pictures of each panel before you send them to their homes for us to see? Yeah, I will keep you updated over on the Creative Crew group as I do that. Thank you, Jadera. Yeah, I love paper piecing. There's quite a few videos out there on my channel about it. It's not my most favorite technique. My most favorite technique when making quilts is applique. Applique has like a soft place in my heart, but paper piecing is, right in my top 5 favorite things to do with quilts. So we'll be doing this, right? Mug rug and placemats. Paper piecing or no paper piecing. And that's really, that's what I love about getting the pattern. You can do it either way, right? Easy, intermediate. I would not say that this is difficult once you learn the process. And I'm going to show it to you. And then after this video, we're going to have some really fun creative time together. And if you're on Creative Crew, then you've already seen pictures of this throughout the process. Look at him. Look at the little owl. Actually, that's a her. Look at her. Isn't she so cute? Isn't she so cute? So let me show you a couple things. So first, let's put him on top. First, I did the giraffe. Y'all, this is on muslin fabric. This is with watercolor paints. You know the watercolor paints that are dry and you activate them with water? This is one of my travel palettes. I like bringing up paint with me when I am out and about. This is one of my travel palettes. It's just regular watercolor wheel, stack pack, but watercolor palette, any of them. When will we be doing this live for the placemats and mug rugs? Yes, I will release the pattern before the live, and I've got to finish that up. So I would think hopefully by next Friday, we'll see how it goes. I am about 70% done with the paper pattern. I have some editing to do on that before I release it. And I will put that up probably the day before we go live. So stay tuned to my Facebook business page, Lisa Cape and Quilts, for updates on that. for updates. So yeah, watercolor paint, that's what this is. So to this, I added some golden GAC 900. This is a fabric medium, okay? And you heat set it with an iron or a heat press. You don't have to have a heat press for this. There's instructions for how to set it with an iron. I'm not quite sure exactly what day the live is, so I can't say for sure. I'm sorry. But if you're on Facebook and you follow my business page, then I will be giving updates for live videos. Acrylics can be used too. So this is just watercolor. So we're going to be showing you that, right? I have videos on using fabric paint. I have videos for using speedball paint, fabric markers. This is watercolor. This is traditionally, you would not think that you could paint on fabric with watercolor paints, right? But that's what I did. So I've been doing some experimenting. The little giraffe, you can find him. He was a free color book page. If you go to the Googles and you type in the search bar, free giraffe color book page, he's probably going to come up. So you can print him out. And then all of the little border, I just freehand drew. This is what I drew, the outline of the giraffe and the little border first, and then came in with the watercolor paints and had fun, right? So that was my first experiment. We're going to go over what I did differently for each one of them to get the best results. Yes, I've used ink tints too. So this is just something a little bit different. Then I came in with the owl, and this is a free color book page that you can find on the Google too. So if you want to trace the owl, that's what I did, and I put a little tree border around her and then painted her with watercolor paints. Isn't that cute? Y'all, this feels just like fabric. I don't feel there's no stiffness. There's no weird feeling. These have been washed twice. Both of these. They have gone through the wash twice. I'm going to show you during that video because I took pictures of what it looked like after I painted it, after the first wash, and after the second. This one I did without pre-washing my fabric. This one I did, and I pre-washed my fabric first before painting. We're going to go over all the results in that video. And then this one is one that I just did the last few days or so. And this was a lot of fun too. It's all watercolor paint. We're going to talk about some of the pros and cons about using watercolor paint, how it bleeds more than fabric paint. But I really feel like if you love watercolor painting and you love quilting, then I'm going to encourage you to give this a try. It's just supposed to be whimsical and soft. Watercolor is kind of flowy anyway, right? If you're someone who is really OCD and when you go through the effort of painting a design, you want it to stay exactly where you want it, you don't want it to bleed at all, then this is probably not the method for you, but you could still watch the video, and instead of using watercolor paints, you could use fabric paint, which bleeds a little bit, but not as much, right? Sometimes I use the ink tints and it bleeds, right? Sometimes. Yes, it's so much fun to paint on fabric. Where did you get your color water? These you can find on Amazon. I actually bought mine from an art store in Vermont, in Bennington. There was a really cool art shop in Bennington. This was $10.99. It's called, all right, I'm going to spell it out. KOH-I-NOOR. That's the name of it. And this has, let's see, 24 rich opaque colors. There's 4 trays and a clear cover. So they stack. So this is really like a travel palette, right? But you could use this. This is another travel palette that I have. This is the Winsor Newton watercolor set that I have. And this gets packed in my bag when I travel. And these are watercolor paints that I have not taken really good care of. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I left you in this condition. Watercolor paints. So yeah, and I've tried 2 different brands. I've tried this one, and when the giraffe was so much fun, I said, well, let me go on Amazon, because I've been wanting to get this watercolor palette for a long time anyway, and that was a great excuse to do it. So this is the Gonzi Tambi Kuretake, I know I'm saying that wrong, watercolor palettes. These are a little bit different. These kind of have like a shiny finish to them. They're watercolors. You activate them with water, and then I add a drop or 2 of fabric medium. I also got these little spray bottles at the Dollar Tree. This is just the fabric medium. I spray it on the fabric. So yeah, the owl I did with these watercolors. And then the giraffe I did with these watercolors. Both worked exactly the same way. We're taking watercolor paints and making them into fabric paints by using a fabric medium. Again, there's all kinds of fabric mediums out there, so you don't necessarily have to have this one. I've gotten really terrific results with it, and I do like that you heat set it, and it gives you instructions if you're using an iron or a heat press. All right, this one I set the colors with my iron. This is after 2 washes in hot water, which I don't like to do with my art projects. If I wash it at all, it's usually with cold water. This is after 2 washes with hot water. So I think this is really great, but there are other fabric mediums out there. This one I heat set with my heat press. So you could do it both ways. Jadira, I'm thinking you could use Crayola watercolors. I'm thinking you could too. Vicky, it didn't unravel as much. I did trim this one up because I just quilted them. I quilted them after I washed them. So there was a little bit of raveling on the raw edge, but what I did is I did a zigzag stitch to prevent a lot of it. And then once it came out of the wash, I layered it with a batting, quilted it, and then trimmed it off. And so now it's ready for a little binding and a little back. Dun, dun, dun. Thank you so much to my moderators. Thank you, Carol. Let me scroll up. Where did you get your color wheel paints? I got that question. It's on muslin. Yes. Cotton muslin. I did use a bleached muslin. And so when you go to, let's say, Joann's or Walmart or any of your fabric stores, really, and you go to the muslin section, you'll notice a difference in the quality of muslin, right? You have your really, really cheaper stuff that when you hold it up, you can see through the muslin. That's really great for some projects, right? Then you have your mid-grade muslin in the price range, and you can tell the difference with the feeling of it. Then you have your expensive muslin, which is super wonderful, awesome feeling, high thread count, great muslin. The muslin I purchased was in the middle range. So it's not really, really cheap, and it wasn't the best. It was in the middle range muslin. Even with that, it was like 53 inches wide, and a yard of it was like $5 or $6, and you can get so many of these from a yard, right? So it still doesn't cost a lot, but it's a mid-range bleached muslin. It has a smooth feeling to it. Like this is the muslin right here. And this has been pre-washed, so it's kind of wrinkly. I still have to iron it. So yeah, this is what it looks like when you wash it. It ravels on the edges, but I did sew all around the edge to keep a lot of this from happening. And I still have to press the wrinkles out before I start painting on this. But this is all pre-washed and ready to go for our live video. Just reading through the comments. How do you stabilize your fabric when coloring or writing with markers? I'll show you that in the video, Sue, because I just take a piece of cardboard from a shipping box and I just pin my fabric right to it, and that holds it in place. I think the trickiest part is doing the tracing, but if you have a light box, that goes pretty easy as well. Yes, yes, Diana made a really good point. A tight, smooth weave is best for painting, and that's really what this is. It is super tight and close together, and it feels smooth, right? When you go in the fabric store, just run your hand across it. If it feels smooth and silky, yes. If you can kind of feel the threads, then I think you're going to have a lot more issues if you try to paint on it. You could put freezer paper on the back. That'll keep it stable while you're tracing your design on it. So yes, this will be a video after the Patriotic mug rug and placemats, right? Even if you don't want to make these projects, but you're feeling creative or you're feeling lonely and you want to hang out with some creative, like-minded people like us, then I hope you do join in the live videos. Here's the thing, y'all. Here's the thing about the lives. Here's the thing about the lives. Finding a time that works best for everybody is so difficult, right? It's so hard to pick the perfect time for everybody. And with the states starting to go into different phases of opening up, more and more people are going back to work during the day who, during all of this quarantine time, have been able to come during the day to our lives, but once things, once they go back to work, they're going to be gone during the day. So, yeah, trying to find a time that works best for everybody is probably going to be the hardest part of doing lives from here on out. I want to be able to do it at a time that works for the majority of everyone, with knowing and understanding that it's not going to be 100%. I'm not going to be able to do it when it's best for every single person who wants to be there. Kathy, you want to get a memory quilt made? Kathy, if you're on Facebook, you can reach out to me at Lisa Cape and Quilts and my Facebook page, and you can send me a message through that. If you're not on Facebook, look in the description box below. There's a link to my Etsy shop, and through Etsy, you can send messages. And that's how several people get in touch with me, and we have conversations through Etsy Messenger. And they send me pictures that way of what they're working on. Or you can email me at lisacapeandquilts@gmail.com. Just to let you know, I am booking quilts into November. So if you're interested, just know that there is a little bit of a wait. And yeah, there's been a boom of people inquiring about quilts on commission. I said at the beginning of the year I was only going to do one quilt a month on commission, and I've had to eat those words because I'm doing several quilts a month from here on out just to fit them all in. Oh yeah, I could do a poll on Facebook. That's a good idea. Let me write that down. So yeah, most definitely reach out to me. I would love to make a memory quilt for you. Just know that there is a little bit of a wait, which is kind of good too, because if you haven't started getting your stuff together and thinking about it, then you have plenty of time to do that. A poll on Facebook for best time to go live on YouTube. All right, we'll do that. right? The nights are your family time, and during the day, most people are at work. What to do? What to do? I don't know what to do. I kind of feel like this is my work, even though it's so much fun and I love it. It is part of what I do for a living, making tutorials, making quilts and stuff like that. I almost kind of want to do it during the daytime. I already have Tuesday evenings that are committed to Creative Crew Group. I don't know if I want to commit another evening. So more than likely it'll be during the day. Nita, you want me to long arm quilt something for you one day? Reach out to me on Facebook. I would love to. I would love to. Oh, Wanda says, I have to come up with an idea for a birthday gift for future daughter-in-law the 23rd of June. Do y'all have any ideas of what Wanda could do for a birthday gift? It's coming up in 25 days from now. Shoot your ideas down in the chat for Wanda. Thank you, Sherry. Sherry, you're always my biggest cheerleader when it comes down to running my business and being supportive and like the stuff that no one else sees. You've always got my back and you're such a huge supporter of that. Thank you, Sherry. Sue says, I'm getting my name out there for making quilts. I've got t-shirt quilts ordered now. Sue, congratulations. Doesn't that feel so good? Doesn't that feel so good? I'm so happy for you. Doris says, just schedule it like a TV program and we can tune in at that time. I would love to, Doris. I would love to. I wish my personality was like that. I'm more spontaneous. I'm a little bit more spontaneous, which makes me unpredictable, which I know most people do not like. But I feel like if I make a huge commitment to say this time and day every week, and then my internet breaks like it did this week, that's going to create so much anxiety with me. What if we want to go on vacation just out of nowhere? I feel like I can't do that if I've committed to that. What if I'm sick? There's no flexibility for that. I like a little bit more flexibility, and I enjoy it so much more when there's not a strict structure. Because then it's just more like work, and this is work, but it doesn't feel like work. Do you know what I'm saying? That's just me. Sally, I saw somebody ask you about doing your pineapple blocks. I don't know that I've seen pictures. Have you made your pineapple blocks yet? If you have, did you post them on Creative Crew Group? Because I've totally missed it. Sue, yes, it does feel so good to have someone order something that is handmade from you. It feels really good. I'm so happy for you. Yes, keeping it real. No commitments to be, and a lot of people have asked, what time are you going live? Which day, I would love to do that for you. I would love to do that for you. And it would suck all the fun out of it for me. It really would. It really would. I do know that I want to go live at least one time a week here on YouTube. And, oh, you just started today, Sally. Ooh, I'm going to be keeping my eyes open for your pineapple block pictures. But yes, if you follow me over on Facebook, I know a lot of people don't have Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, I'll give you updates. Usually I go live there before I go live here. Like right before we came live today here, I was live on Facebook. So you get kind of like double the fun. But if you don't have Facebook, if you're subscribed to my channel and you hit the bell notification and select all, then you get notified if I just go live spontaneously in the middle of the night if I wanted to. And you're awake, then you get a little ding on your phone or your tablet and you can join in. So that's where I'm at. So yes, future videos, we're going to be using something you traditionally wouldn't think about painting fabric with. We're going to use watercolors, and we're going to do some fun, whimsical, haphazard painting on fabric. It is not precise. There are issues with it, like it bleeding, but look how cute that is, y'all. Look how cute it is. And then we're going to do some patriotic projects. We'll actually do this first because I want to get this out there in time so that if you wanted to make some of these for a 4th of July celebration cookout or picnic, or just to decorate your house or hang up on your wall, then you'll have plenty of time to do that before July gets here. So this will be first. And then we're having some haphazard fun painting on fabric with watercolor paints. That's what we're doing next. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, Barbara, I have to do me. And if it's not fun for me, I think you're going to notice that in the videos, right? I think you're going to notice that. You're going to get the feeling like this is more of a job for her than something she actually loves doing. Yes, just like Celeste said, you know, I would love it if you can join me when I'm live, but if not, there's always the replay. Absolutely. Yes. So I'm going to keep you updated on Facebook with what I decide to do once I make up my mind. Right now, let's see, let's switch the screen. Right now, dun, 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 dun. Right now it looks like this. It looks like this. It's going to stay up on the wall for a few more days as I fully commit to which way I'm going. Kind of leaning towards 11 or 12 wall hangings and spreading the love with my friends and family. That's what I'm leaning towards. But if you want updates, follow me over on Facebook. My link is down below if you've never joined me over there. And yes, I will keep you updated no matter what I decide. I'll show you pictures of what the quilting will look like when I get to that point on Facebook. And if I do it as smaller wall quilts, you'll be able to see how I decide to quilt those. So, yep, lots of updates. But she's going to stay on the wall. What's really funny is I vacuumed the other day and the wind from the vacuum blew half of the blocks down on the floor. So then I had to like pull the picture up on my phone and figure out where all the blocks were situated. That was a process. So the sooner this comes down off my wall, the better. And it's going to have to come down in the next week and a half, 2 weeks anyway, because I have a commission coming in and I'm going to need the space. So it can stay up there for a little bit, but at some point I have to commit one way or the other and do something with this. Yes, Diana, I'm the same way. When the quilting becomes more like work with deadlines, you have to walk away from it for a minute. Y'all, that's why I love what I do. I'm a small business, right? I make quilts on commission. I've transitioned into making quilts on commission and making tutorials too, right? So I'm splitting my time up now. Before we moved into this house, I was making so many quilts on commission, and I did it to myself. I packed my schedule so tight that there was not any room to allow for anything to happen. Deadlines, deadlines. It was a quilt a week, a quilt a week. Go, 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 go. And I don't care how much you love making quilts, when it's that stressful, even though you love what you do, you kind of start, I don't want to say resenting it, but it's not fun. And who did I have to blame for that? Was myself, right? So I'm kind of learning as the years go by in my business what's good for me and what's not. Right? Have you ever felt like that? Didn't have nobody to blame but myself. But I'm going to tell you, the first few years of my business, I was so busy and got my name out there that now I can slow down a little bit and enjoy the process. I wouldn't do anything different. But yes, I was totally burnt out. I was totally burnt out. And I don't want to get to that point again. Yeah, it's not supposed to feel like a job. It is my job, and it is a business, and everything that comes along a part of a business, right? So there's all this behind the scenes stuff of running a business. But yeah, I was burning myself out, and I was doing it to myself. So you're right, it could be a fun sucker. It was a fun sucker. I booked my schedule just way too much. Nita says, I would love to get good enough to make it a business. Girlfriend, one thing that I know is that if you really want something and you make a plan to achieve what it's going to take, you can do it. You can do it. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot of work. It's so much work, but it's so rewarding. And it's so rewarding. Sherry, yeah, you get it, right? You get it. Yes. Nita, if you want tips for how to transition something that you love to do, your hobby, particularly quilting, and transition from hobby to business, I did do a Zoom on my business Facebook page right in the beginning of this quarantine time. And we had about 8 people in that Zoom, and it was a very structured Zoom, kind of like a TED Talk, a little bit, right? Everybody was muted. And I went through the process of how I transitioned from hobby to business. And then I opened it up for questions. And I do plan on doing that again. So keep that in mind. If that's something that, has been on your mind, something that's crossed your mind several times, and something that you would love learning more about, I will be doing Zooms about that. Oh, Catakip says, I'm making several quilts at the moment to open an Etsy shop later this year. Yes, you can do it. I don't know if you were here when I talked about my little purple pocket prayer quilt. I love that so much. You could put those in your Etsy shop. Yes, you could. I love it so much, and it's purple is my favorite color. Thank you so much for sending me that. Vicky says, when are you going to make a quilt for us? Yeah, you're going to have to make that husband of yours a quilt, Vicky. Sherry, I will let you know. I did one. It was like, I forget. It was like in the first 2 weeks of the quarantine when everything shut down. We did a Zoom on Lisa Cape and Quilt's Facebook page. And it was really good. And I had a bullet. I had it all planned out what I was going to talk about, the key points, and I think it went really well. It was like an hour long. And the last like 20 minutes of it was people asking questions. And so I think it went really well. Oh, you missed that. Yeah, I talked about it when we did the snowballs and the hourglasses, or when we did the little frames around the 10-inch blocks in one of those videos. So yeah, it's been really a lot of fun chatting with you today, talking about upcoming video ideas. Of course, you know, I might pop in there with something totally different. And I don't think it would be crazy to say that every once in a while, let's do a block like we've done in this series, right? I still have people sending me blocks and saying, can you teach how to do this block? I still get those messages almost on a daily basis. One came through last night. And so we could always, today we're going to show you how to make this block and do that in a live too. I did not record that Zoom. No, I know you can record the Zooms. I don't want to record my Zooms because I feel like it's a come as you are. And it's not just my face out there. It's whoever is in the Zoom, their face. And I feel like that's really personal and I don't want to share that on YouTube. So that's why I don't record the Zooms. But how do you join a Zoom? So like last night, we did a Zoom on Creative Crew Group, Jadera, and I put up a link and you click on the link and it pulls you right into the Zoom room. Last night, we had like 15 people. We were up to 15 people at one time. Sometimes there's just 4 of us. Sometimes there's like 8 of us. Sometimes there's a whole bunch of us. And it's a lot of fun. And I get to see you as well as you get to see me. And we get to have conversation back and forth with everybody. The Zoom I did about transitioning from a hobby to a business was a more structured Zoom on my business Facebook page. And that was not like how our Creative Crew Zooms go. That's more free, open conversation about anything. And the ones that I do on my business page are more structured and to the point. And I also look forward to doing Zooms as consults. So there's something to think about. Will you announce your next Zoom? Yep, usually what I do is give some kind of heads up post on the page and say, hey, we're going to do a Zoom tonight. We usually do it at 8 p.m. That's been the normal time, Eastern Standard Time. But I'll make a post that day or early evening, like supper time. Y'all want to do a Zoom, and then we meet at 8 o'clock. Yeah, I don't want to put anybody's face out there. I really feel like the Zooms are private for who's there. And sometimes we talk about very sensitive topics, right? Some of us are going through some personal things. And if they feel comfortable enough to share it with who's there, they don't want to share it with the whole wide world, right? So I don't like to record the Zooms. Yeah, Nita says she loves to listen to everybody on the Zoom. They tickle her soul. I feel the same exact way. Sometimes we laugh till we cry. then sometimes we talk about very serious subject matters, right? Stuff that's personal. And yeah. Sue says, is Zoom an app that you download? Yes. So let's talk about Zoom for just a second before we close. Zoom is a free app that you can download to your computer, your cell phone devices, your tablets. You don't have to have Zoom to join my Zoom meeting. So there's that. If I post a link, you can click on the link without having the app and join the Zoom. However, that process is easier if you have the app, and the app is free. With Zoom, I know it was a topic in the news for a good week when they were bombarded with people all of a sudden using Zoom. Zoom has updated their privacy settings. They have updated all of that stuff, and so I feel very safe and comfortable using Zoom. But you don't have to have the app to join my Zoom meeting. It just makes the whole process of joining easier. So I just want to say that. And anybody can hold a Zoom meeting. It's free to use. You're only limited if you have a free Zoom account. Your meetings can only be for 40 minutes, right? And sometimes that's all you need. That's what we started out with. But then we were finding that at the end of the 40 minutes, it would cut us off and I'd have to reset it up and people would come back in and we'd do another one. Sometimes we did that 4 times. Sometimes we were good with just the 40 minutes, but sometimes we wanted to talk longer. So I upgraded my Zoom. So you don't pay to come into my Zoom meeting, but I am paying for unlimited Zoom time. I don't know if all that was really confusing or not, but you don't have to have it, but it makes it easier. It's a free app for you to download. Joan, I'm so glad that you've been inspired by all of these videos. I'm so glad. I really am. Connie, that's okay. You can come back and watch the replay. We're talking about all kinds of stuff, but basically we're finishing up this quilt today. This quilt series. That was the main topic, but we talked about a lot of stuff in today's video. I feel like I'm all over the place here. Oh, good. Yeah. Good. You get the Zoom now. Yeah. You click on the link and you're there. And for Creative Crew Zooms, the only people who see that link are people in Creative Crew. Creative Crew is a private group. So if you're on Facebook and you're not part of the Creative Crew, you never see any of our posts. If you're part of the Creative Crew group and you post something on Creative Crew, none of your friends see it if they are not part of the Creative Crew group. So I feel like that is sort of like a vetting security process right there. And so, yeah, I post a link right on our Creative Crew page. We're the only ones who's going to see it. And then whoever's available jumps in and we see each other. And sometimes we're eating snacks. Sometimes, you know, we're working on projects. Last night, several of the people there were either working, like Sherry was still working because she's in a whole other time zone than me. But other people were working on their quilt blocks last night while we were Zooming. Or you can just kick back in your chair and hang out. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, Connie. Right, Lucy? I feel like, you know, not everybody wants to have their face out on the World Wide Web. It's taken me a long time to get comfortable with it, and I still get nervous about it. So I would not put everybody in that position. Oh, Rachel wants to learn how to quilt on your home domestic sewing machines. Y'all, okay, so if you've been searching on YouTube for any length of time, there are so many people out there making videos, really great content, teaching, tutorial, classes. Leah Day, Rachel. Leah Day, Leah Day. Leah Day. Oh, she will teach you so much about quilting on a sit-down domestic machine. Search for her on YouTube. She's got tons and tons of videos. That's one place to start. There's other people out there too, but yeah, look her up. How do you join Creative Crew? I want you to click on the description box of this video. You'll have to leave the chat to do it or come back on the replay. In the description box below, there's a link that brings you over to Creative Crew group. Now, if you join that, oh my goodness. If you join the Creative Crew group, I do have 2 security questions that you have to answer both. And then we just join you in and you're there for all the fun, right? But if you only answer 1, then I think you might be a spammer and you don't get admitted into the Creative Crew group. Debbie, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, Debbie, thank you so much. Y'all aren't going to make me cry today, but you're trying. Thank you so much, Debbie. Catakip, you've been making scrap crumb blocks during the last 2 videos. Yeah. Debbie, you are so sweet. I appreciate y'all as well. I really do. I don't have words to say how much I'm thankful. Just know that my heart is like so full all the time, every day. Connie says, if I Zoom, I have to wear makeup again and do my hair. I think I've forgotten how. Connie, that's one of the reasons why I don't record the Zooms, because I want you to come as we are. Sometimes my hair is not done. Sometimes it's not done. Sometimes I am in my pajama pants, you know? And I feel like that's how we all are comfortable to do that. And I don't record them, so you come as you are. No makeup, we don't care. Oh yeah, Sally said Angela Walters does a lot on her home machine as well. So there's somebody else, Rachel, to look up too. Oh, Nita. Nita, thank you so much. Oh my goodness, y'all. Y'all are so funny. Thank you so much. Natalia Bonner also has great quilting videos. I need to look up the Creative Crew. I miss my quilting bee, but you seem like a lot of fun. Well, let me tell you, Kathleen, Creative Crew, predominantly the members of Creative Crew group are quilters. However, I encourage, as the person who runs the group, I have a moderator, Maureen. She helps me with the group too. So thank you, Maureen. But I encourage all types and genres of crafting and artistry. All kinds of art. So if you do crochet, if you do knitting, if you paint pictures, if you paint furniture, if you garden, if you bake, all types and genres of creativity are welcome in the Creative Crew group. Truth be told, it's predominantly quilting, but I encourage all types and genres of art. So if you have, maybe you make jewelry, right? Maybe you make resin art. Who knows what you do? We would love to see it. Aw, Vicky, you don't want people to see you. You'd scare everyone. No, you would not. But just to let you know, since you want to bring that up, we do have some Zoomers who want to be a part of the Zoom, but they don't turn their camera on. So they get to hear the conversation and they get to see everybody else, but they don't have their camera on. If you wanted to do that, you could do that. We would really love to see your face, and I encourage sharing that. But that is an option. Nita, thank you so much. I'm so glad that the videos have been helpful. I try to make videos. That's why, when I first started out, the t-shirt quilt videos, I tried to make videos that answered questions that I had when I was learning how to make t-shirt quilts. I'm like, I can't believe there's not a video on how to do this. I should make one. All right, y'all. I really feel like I could sit here and talk with you all day. I do feel like I could do that, but I do need to go work on this pattern for the placemats and the mug rugs. Connie. Thank you so much, Connie. Y'all are so awesome. Thank you so much, Connie. Just letting you know, if you want to help my channel as well as the super chat, you can give me a thumbs up. You can thumbs up this video, and that would be a huge help to me and my YouTube channel. And you could also share this video, or if there's another video on my channel that you think would help one of your friends, you could share that video. That helps me so much too. All the algorithms of YouTube, so much to learn. But yeah, if you just thumbs up my video, that helps me so much. You could thumbs down my video and that would help me just as much. So feel free to do either one. But thank y'all so much for your support. I appreciate that so much. I really do. Thank you so much, Connie. Thank you so much, Debbie and Nita. Thank you to everyone who has thumbed up this video already. Thanks for chatting with me during the super chat. Moral support is one of my greatest, hugest benefits of doing this, getting to hear from you, right? So thank you. Yes, and I'm growing subscribers every day. Sheila, you're new to my channel and to quilting. Girlfriend, there are so many resources here on YouTube that are so helpful, but I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to tell you, you have plugged into some really wonderful creative people here in this chat. They are so knowledgeable. They are so supportive. And yes, feel free to browse around on my channel. And if you're on Facebook, come join Creative Crew. There's a link in the description box. I think you'll love it. All right, everybody. We're going into the weekend. I hope you have a blessed day, blessed weekend. I can't wait to see you next. Next, we'll be doing some paper piecing, an applique, and a quilt as you go project. All the fun things wrapped into one project. And yes, I've enjoyed my time with you today so much. I can't wait to see you next time. If you're watching on the replay and you have questions, you can write them down below. And until then, look for updates over on Facebook. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.